What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. One of our favorite guests is back. We also have some dude named Greg is here. I don't know. That's sketchy. We're gonna have a good time regardless. I feel like we'll probably have to carry him a little bit. I don't know if he's got much to say. But Gene's here, so me and Jane are, we're really gonna carry.
Did you just call him
episode.
Jane?
Sounded
like you call him Jane. I think you called him Jane.
Don't tempt me. I'm gonna WGI Gene, and we'll have a whole nother set of nicknames for you here shortly, Gene. But we're talking about the 5 things that agents need to focus on. This is partially timeless, right? The 5 things all agents should always focus on. We're going to talk about how it applies right now, going into some interesting market conditions that we're in. And we're going to talk about leverage. So understanding your hourly worth, understanding your worth as an agent, what you're good at, what the things that you should be focusing on, and then how do you get out of all that other stuff, right? Most agents spend 80% of the time in the other stuff that they could be paying somebody $15 an hour to do. We're going to talk a little bit about how to break that cycle and get out of all that stuff so you can make more money, right? Who doesn't want to do that? So,
nope.
Without further ado, the junior grandmaster, I do have to give you your proper due, Greg. You're in the co-pilot seat.
Yes,
strangely, where you so belong, although you're not in your normal co-pilot seat, which I deeply resent because your audio is terrible. What's up today?
I'm going to kick you in your small, tiny, tiny nuts if you keep the bullshit up. I am coming on, and Brindley, she's such a sweetheart, and Matt and I were talking about my new doodad here. And how this is a window punch. This is a seatbelt cutter. That's a reverse, whatever. You get the fucking point. And then this is... and that's a bottle opener right there. Yeah, Gene, you're the only one that got that.
Nicely done, sir.
And Brindley came on and she was just like, what the shit did I just walk in on? The look on her face like, is this the right podcast? I didn't know it was a survival podcast. I thought we were talking about real estate.
But I think you just gave me the best man gift to give anyone. So I'm going to need a link to where you ordered that thing.
Oh, dude. It's on wish.com. It was like $9. I'll send you the link. It was awesome. Like, man, talk about man gift of man gifts.
That is.
But anyways, enough about me. I got to tell you one story, and then I'll get off the stage because I hate talking, and all of you know that. Dude, I was at the dog park with Fido right there. If you guys can see him, I don't know if you can see him or not. Here he is. And I was sitting there, and this is something that Brindley and I were laughing about prior to the show. I was out walking him in the dog park this morning, and dude, I picked up a potential $2.8 million listing from another real estate agent as we both walked dogs. And Brindley and I both agree that sleeping longer in our beds and working from our beds is very productive. Matt vehemently disagrees because he's super proactive and he's out there at 6 a.m. like doing my power push-ups and everything else. And Brindley and I are like, text. This is amazing. But anyways, enough about that. Gene Volpe, the evil bald ninja. You look extra bald today. How are you?
I did shave it up for you today. I will tell you, I thought we were here today to talk about Dogecoin. So I'm a little bit
unprepared.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a different episode, but apparently that's not the case. All right, it is what it is, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Well, we have someone who's way prettier than all of us. We have Miss Brindley Tucker on the show. How are you, my friend?
Hi, everybody. I am wonderful, Brindley Tucker. I'm just excited to be here again. It's, I showed up and Greg, I just thought it was going to be us, and I got the gift of Gene and Matt, so I'm really excited to be here.
Don't say gift when it comes to Gene and Matt. Okay, look, their egos are not going to be able to fit out the door.
What a gift it is.
It is a gift. It's a gift to meet you. And his microphone keeps messing with my brain. I think I'm reading Genvelope. Like, you have your own envelope. I'm like, what is
I'm
trying to figure your name out in my head.
Brindley, we talk about this all the time. You can see my mic stand, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, I have t-shirts on. I have t-shirts with this on it, and I can't tell you how many times I've gotten stopped like in the supermarket. And they're like, what is a Genvelope? And I'm like, it's a Gene Volpe. Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
So I just have to be able to stop.
Marketing genius.
Listen, here's what it is, Matt. We talk about this all the time. It's about starting the conversation, and that does it.
It does it. It does it.
Oh my God! And how many clients have you picked up from being mistaken for a Genvelope?
You would be surprised.
I would be surprised if it's over 0.1.
I can tell you how many beards.
If
and
you
cups
picked up a
coffee I've
10th
had.
of a client, I'll be shocked by that.
All right, I'm going to pay close attention. If you're listening to this,
Now, Greg actually, so he's wearing his Zillow killer hat. I think that was the icebreaker conversation with the guy at the dog park that it might actually lead to a listing, right?
Yeah, it really is. I become my own personal marketing machine. I also have a shirt that says, I'm wearing right now, that says, Des Moines? Hell yes. Dude, I was hiking in Yosemite 3 weeks ago. I was exhausted, and this couple came up to me, and I was delirious at this point because I was so fucking tired. And they're like, oh my God, where's Des Moines? And I'm like, it's Des Moines, but sure. And I explained it to them, like, we love your shirt. And I'm like, crap, this thing really works. Tom Miller, if you're listening to this, buddy, you gave me this. And I love it. It's awesome. But it's just about being able to start a conversation with somebody, right?
I feel like at least 80% of Greg's wardrobe is stuff that past guests of the show have given to him.
Hey, just don't be jealous because you don't get shit, okay?
Yes, I'll take care of supplying my own clothing. All right, so Brindley, for those that don't remember your first episode, it's been a while since you've been on. So for those that don't remember your first episode, give us just the 60-second bio, who you are, where you are, what you do.
100%. Hi, I'm Brindley Tucker. I am a licensed realtor out of Tampa, Florida, but primarily I focus on team building, leadership, and leverage. My vision has always been to have a place where agents can come and get any leverage that they need, and that we also can help our leverage, our administrative professionals, our team leaders, our folks that really help us run a real estate business, have coaching and mentoring and training. And so that's what I do today. I own a company called Your Realty Leverage, and we offer all of those things. And I also am blessed and honored to coach some of the top teams in the country from a operational standpoint. So I really just love what I do, and I love helping agents.
I know you can tell a light and enthusiasm, right? So that you can't, like, if you don't enjoy what you do, that doesn't exist. So you can absolutely tell that. So let's talk a little bit about like the 5 things that every agent, kind of must do. And really let's talk about the timeless stuff first, and then we'll talk about maybe how it applies in some of the unique market conditions that we're seeing. So just give us a rundown real quick. What are those 5 things? Because I know you can rattle them off.
Yeah. So lead gen, lead follow-up. So lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, and scripts and role play.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. That's the 20% of a real estate agent's business.
Yeah. So let's talk about like when people kind of get into your world. First of all, I'm curious if they know those things already and they are, they just haven't implemented it, or are they really even aware? Like have they actually looked at their own activities and figured out what actually drives results in their real estate business?
Well, most agents haven't, because most agents are entrepreneurial minded, and we are, as entrepreneurs, we're very reactive. We're not responsive. We are whatever's in front of us, just do it and go. And so what happens is when someone comes into real estate and they start acting in that way, next thing you know, they aren't doing those 5 things. They're doing all the other things that they think they need to do to make the operation run and to get the business. And these things start to suffer. And then they wonder, they wake up in 90 days and they go, I don't have any new listings. I don't have any new contracts. What happened? Well, they allowed all that other stuff, that 80%, that minutia to take over from their income generating activities that are really going to drive their business forward. And unfortunately, for a lot of agents, that comes in the form of desperation, and it's finally their head's on fire. They're drowning and they're like, I need help because this is all taken over. And I think for me, if I can help just one agent be proactive and prevent that from happening, then I've served a purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Because leverage really is the name of the game. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Can't buy more of it, can't get less of it, right? It is a constant resource that we all have the same. The difference is how we choose to spend it, how we choose to use it.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah. When it comes to prospecting and everything else, we were using a word off air, and it was leverage, right? Yeah. And Matt has volunteered his time to help leverage everybody else in the community. He's gonna drive over to Brindley's house and clean her car for her inside and out, so it'll give her more time to do what she can do. But when it comes to leverage, what would that look like? How does that even, how do you start with leverage? How do you, so you don't fall behind the eight ball? Because a lot of us agents, and I've been guilty of it, and everyone else has in all of their businesses, because we work, and then we stop working because we have so much business, and then the business goes away, and then now we're broke again. Where would leverage start? So I'm a brand new agent or a restarting agent. How would I leverage my business if I have $500 a month to spend in regards to lead generation or anything else? What would that look like in your book?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things, right? And I tell this story. It's two people that I've studied a lot when it comes to time management and leverage are obviously Bill Gates, who is highly successful, and Warren Buffett, who is highly successful. And a story that has always stood out with me with Warren Buffett is he's obviously, we all know he owns Berkshire and he lives in Omaha, Nebraska. And there's a McDonald's in Omaha, Nebraska. And this could be a made up story. I don't care. For the purpose of this, it works. And it was in a documentary, so I believe it. And he goes to that McDonald's every morning, and there's a cup in his car, and his wife puts a certain amount of money. He's also was married to two women at one time, if you want some interesting Warren Buffett facts. But his wife puts a certain amount of money in that cup every morning in his cup holder. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that sounds fun.
They actually sent their Christmas cards out together. It was really cute.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. There's an HBO documentary on Warren Buffett that's really, really good. And it's really cool. Like it's him and Bill play bridge in it. It's a cool documentary. But anyway, back to point at hand is she puts a certain amount in the cup, and based on the amount of money that's in that cup is what he decides he's going to order for breakfast. So the man has even leveraged deciding what to have for breakfast. That is someone, and we laugh, but that is someone that has a real clear intent, intentional reality of what his time is worth. Mm-hmm. And he maximizes even his seconds, right?
And more importantly, the mental burden of that, because his most valuable contribution to his business and to humankind is his decision-making ability. So you prevent decision fatigue, right?
Yeah. Exactly. 100%. So I say that to set the tone of, first, you've got to start realizing what your time is worth and the value that you place on your time. Mm-hmm. And so an easy way to do that is to take all the money in 1 month that went into your bank account and divide it by the number of hours that you think you worked in that month. So if you think you work on average 60 hours a week, multiply it by 4, that's 240 hours a month. Go into your bank account, not what you made in GCI, not how much you did in volume. I don't care about any of that. I'm talking about how much money actually went into your bank account that you get to use to live. And divide that by 240, and I think you'll be real surprised by that number.
So here's an interesting thing, Brindley, what you didn't know about me is that my father has been doing this, the Grand Master, Terry McDaniel, has been doing this for 52 years, I think at this point or more. Back in 2008, 2009, he built a spreadsheet for me for prospecting. And like what you were just saying, he broke it down to the minute, the hour, the client, the opportunity. And so you knew exactly where your time was being spent. All of a sudden, your head explodes, because all of a sudden you're like, holy sheep shit. Like, did you just see how much I'm worth? Because now when you see you're doing your prospecting or when you're talking to somebody, like me walking and picking up, steaming piles of dog shit today, dude, my time per hour, per minute is worth a lot if and when these deals come together. But people don't really understand that. When they don't understand that, then they don't put time into it. They don't put time into it, then they fail out of the business because they don't respect themselves. Yeah. And that's the disappointing, horrifying part of this business, because there's so many wonderful, incredible, valuable people out there that are trying to do this industry, but then they get talked down to by other agents who are pieces of shit. Not our audience, other audiences. No, never ours.
I mean, it's the Bobs of the world.
Oh, from Remax?
We know Bob that. From Remax, I know.
We know that.
Freaking Bob.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Brindley's laughing because she knows the inside joke on that one. But I mean, it is really powerful when you open people's eyes up to that. People all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, totally block out 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day to do prospecting, because I can time block the rest of my day for appointments and negotiations and everything else. And that's kind of what you're saying, right?
Think about the power of that number, right? If I know what I want my hourly rate to be, so let's just throw a number out there, easy math. Let's say it's $100, right? I want my hourly rate to be $100. Now you have a baseline in which you can make decisions off of. Can I find someone to clean my house for cheaper than $100 an hour? Can I find someone to put gas in my car for less than $100 an hour? Because the minute that you have that benchmark, you now have worth. Because what I hear all the time is, but if I do it, it's free. No, it's not. It costs you $100 an hour, because that's an hour that you could be doing something else. That's an hour that you could be prospecting. That's an hour that you could be showing and doing all of the things that are actually going to make you money. A lot of people know this about me, is that I'm an only child raised by a single mother. It's been her and I my whole life. And I fought it for years. And then at one point I just went, you know what? She loves being my mom. Like, she's been my mom her whole life. And so I put her on the payroll. She's now my personal assistant, and I pay her to be my mom. And I do. Like, I don't take out my trash. I don't put gas in my car. The cleaners were here today. I didn't have to worry about it. And what that allowed me to do was it allowed me to focus on my purpose, which is to help other people. And I got to do 15 calls today because she took care of all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
You can call me high maintenance. Maybe it's why I'm single. I don't care, because I know I'm very strong in my why. And my why is to help change the lives of others and impact others and help them reach their true potential. And taking out my trash and putting gas in my car doesn't get me closer to that. It actually gets me further away from it.
So the question is, Matt, what would it cost for you to take my trash out?
For you, Greg, it's literally priceless, because there is no price at which that will ever happen. Let's run that in a MasterCard commercial.
Oh my God! Yeah. But Brindley, you do make a good point. There are services and people out there that you can leverage and really take a lot of the minutia out of the business, out of your day. Back here in California, when the gold rush happened here in Northern Cal, what you did was the guys had to work really hard, and they go up there, go to the river, shovel loads of dirt into these sifters, sift all the bullshit out, all the rocks and dirt and everything else would get sifted out. Only the heavy good stuff, the nuggets, the gold would fall through the bottom. Then they pick the gold up, and that's exactly what you're doing. You are gold mining, and you're leveraging it at the exact same time.
Now, here's the thing. If you like cleaning your house or mowing your yard and that gives you serenity and peace, then by all means, clean your house and mow your yard, right? That might be your escape. Yet for most of us, it's not, right? For most of us, we're living in this fallacy that if I do it, it's free. I save money. Mm-hmm. And that's when I know that somebody doesn't have clarity around what their self-worth is and what their hourly rate is.
Let's talk about self-worth. Shut up, Gene.
This is gonna go right downhill. Go ahead.
that would downhill fast, didn't it,
Gene? Wait. Yes, she did call you Gene Velope.
Wait, I would like to talk about self-worth for a second. I got a bone to pick. Can we break this up for a second?
You have a bone to pick, Gene?
I have so many jokes on that.
It's actually perfect timing.
Okay.
I'm over here trying to promote the show. I post a little picture. See this? It says can't tag. So I go to tag Greg McDaniel. I go to tag Mr. Micro Famous, and it says Micro Famous doesn't allow everyone to tag them.
Oh.
Which says to me that some people can, but for some reason the Genvelope can't. And I'd like to know.
That's not true. So this is not a self-worth issue. It's a my self-worth issue, which is I don't want anyone being able to tag me in a photo and get away with it, and without me seeing it first. So I just have that setting tweaked so that you can't do it. I've had people try to post pictures of me from my musician days. I just have that setting turned off. So that's not a me against you.
All right,
I'll allow it. Jump in with my little bit of life coach hat here.
Yeah,
there's a difference between self-worth and self-confidence. Self-worth. Self-worth comes from within. Self-confidence comes from the outside.
So explain that. What do you mean by that?
That means that to have a high sense of self-worth, it comes from inside. It's how you feel about yourself. Self-confidence comes from the outside and what you seek and others view of you.
Interesting.
So I have a question for both Brindley and Jean. You guys each get one vote each. For Matt, not allowing Jean to post onto his page. Raise your right hand if you feel that Matt should be booted for the show for 5 seconds.
You're going to punish me? You're going to punish
I'm
me?
not doing that.
I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm going to go vanilla.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
Right.
David Jocelyn says so.
Goodbye. Okay, it's just back to us.
Yeah.
Matt, it's just you and me.
So David Jocelyn's commenting. He says, so no 80s, 90s hairband photos, huh, Matt? You're like, yes, that's exactly right, David.
Correct, David. You got it.
And there's some good pictures of me with long hair out there. Okay.
Oh,
And Jean's been there. I think I dealt with that with Matt like 3 years ago, so I know exactly how you're feeling, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I felt the rejection. My high eye came out, and I felt rejected too.
So wait, let me go into that with Brindley real quick. So we talk a little bit every once in a while on this show about there's a book that I read. It's called the 80-20 Sales and Marketing, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious. You know that one?
I know it. Well, yes. And I know the 80-20 very well. Yes.
Of course, right? If you're in sales, you have to, right? But this one, there's a chapter in it where it talks about it's exactly what you were just saying, but in more appropriate terms in that they're saying you got to figure out what your high worth tasks are in a given day, right? So like I just break it down like this. This is how he breaks it down in the book. There's probably 20% of the work that you do is your $100 an hour. That's what you make. That's your ROI on your own time. Is $100 an hour, 20% of it. The other 80% is your $10 tasks, right? So the thought process would be to bring somebody in to handle your 80% so that you can spend more than 20% on your $100 task and then kind of level up from there, right? So going back to what you were saying a little while ago, talk to me a little bit about your process. So in my head, I think to myself, do I need to sit down and really write out everything I do in any given day for a month? Like, talk to me about your process. Yeah. You can say mowing the lawn is $10. I'll get my mom to do it. Yep. These are the other things I'm doing.
So I call it a stop doing list. So there's a couple ways you can do this. There's a capacity tracker, which is very similar to what Greg was talking about, where it's a spreadsheet and you can have everyone in your team. They're not going to like you for this, but they will like you at the end of it. And for a week, they have to go in and they have to log their activities and how long it took them. And then you're able to see where the time is being spent, right? And how much it's costing you. You also can do this for yourself, right? And it takes a little bit of discipline to take for a week and really write down what you do. Now, you can do this in several different ways. You can do it as you're going through it. You can, at the top of every hour, go into the spreadsheet and kind of type out everything you did for the last hour and how long it took you. Or if you're super disciplined and you think you can remember it all, you can do it at the end of the day. Yet, yes, you're going to exactly have to do that, is track where your time is going. And then ask yourself, okay, can I find someone that can do this cheaper, right? At a less hourly rate than my $100 that I've said I want to make. And Greg, you asked the question, if somebody had $500 a month and they're a new agent, first and foremost, and if you don't know what this is, then you reach out to me. Brindley Tucker, there's only one in America, thank God, my mother would say, get an independent transaction coordinator. And I don't care if you're, and I hear it all the time, new agents, but I need to learn the process. No, you don't. No, you don't. And you will learn the process just by being a part of it. Yet what you do need is someone that's going to keep your butt out of a courtroom. And you don't know what you don't know when you start real estate. So why wouldn't you go hire someone that you can pay? In California, it's the highest state. So we'll go with that because California is like the planet Jupiter when it comes to real estate. It's $450 a file, right? So for $450 of your commission, and by the way, they don't get paid unless you get paid. So it's not like this is going to cost you out of pocket. They will take your entire contract from contract to close. They will make sure you hit your deadlines. They will make sure you have your broker paperwork. They will do all of those things. And that is the cheapest form of leverage that you can get as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, that is the one thing that if you don't take anything away from this call is go hire a TC, period.
Yeah, no, you nailed it on the head. I have my team manager, Eileen Landon. I refer to her as the steel trap. I have not written a contract in 15 years. Mm-hmm. She handles all communication. She handles everything. Unless there's a fire I have to put out, everything runs through her. And talk about freeing up time. And I pay her $750 per deal, plus her salary, plus health benefits and everything else. Yeah. Guys, it might sound expensive. I'll tell you one thing. It's the most inexpensive thing you can possibly do in your entire life.
I was going to say, just from a leverage standpoint, but you hit the nail on the head, Brindley. Like, I almost got sued, and like one of my clients got my office manager on the phone on my very first effing deal. I'm like, what is going on? Having a transaction coordinator in that particular case, I don't know that would have prevented that, but I had no idea that was going to be that big of an issue, and that people were so trigger happy litigious. But yeah, I mean, just from a keeping your butt out of jail, and out of fines, out of court, and allowing you to focus and mentally relax and not have to deal with that by constantly wondering and trying to figure out all this stuff on the fly. Let somebody else handle that, because then you can just focus more on the sales part.
100%. And what you can do is you have a baseline now that you have this person that you've leveraged the TC piece to, right? Mm-hmm. They're licensed, so they can do a lot of things for you so that you can focus your time on the 5 things that make you money. And you have a baseline now that, okay, when I get to this certain number of transactions, it doesn't make sense for me to outsource that anymore. It makes sense for me to bring someone in-house, right? Or you keep that person and you hire someone that can help you with marketing and lead gen, a little bit of your appointment setting or scheduling, or your social media or your campaigns and your touch programs, right? That is the cheapest form of leverage that you can hire as a real estate agent. I mean, if you're a new real estate agent, we typically say 2 deals a month is the goal, right? That's 24 units a year. That's $10,800. It would cost you in a year to have someone do all of your paperwork, your client communication once you're under contract, your deadlines, your contingencies, your closings, scheduling closings, making sure and coordinating appraisals and inspections. Like, that's dirt cheap.
Yes.
It doesn't get any cheaper than that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way,
especially in California, the price of half of one commission, a third of one commission.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm going with the California price of $450, and a lot of markets, a TC runs you $350, $395. It's even cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you can actually tack that on. By the way, I mean, Jeff Cohn in Omaha has a $597 transaction paperwork fee for the buy side and $997 for the sell side. I mean, if you really want to, like, if you really don't want to pay it, you don't even have to pay it.
Nope. And let's zero cost it out, right? Mm-hmm. How do you get that paid for? Well, in the state of California, we have to store all of our documents for 7 years. So this is a file storage fee that we charge so that we can make sure that we protect you in the next 7 years. There's a freaking script for everything, right? Like, you can sell anything and you should be able to, or you're in the wrong industry, right?
Well, actually, I had Eileen yell at one of my ex-team members because he's like, Greg, how do you know what to say? And she had enough of him on that day. And she's like, John, everything he fucking does is scripted. Everything. And I'm like, I didn't really know that, but okay, yeah. But it is. I mean, but think about this. Mm-hmm. Your communication with your significant other in the mornings, you guys have routines. That's scripted. Mm-hmm. Your kids' routines, that's scripted. Mm-hmm. When it comes to what you're going to do for your anniversary, most of the time it's going to be probably scripted. I mean, everything is set to a certain frequency, and how you're going to interpret it and how you're going to listen to it is 100% accurate. I mean, when I get on this show, I know Matt's going to belittle me, and I'm going to make fun of his fat kids. Jean's bald. Brindley is a beautiful, wonderful, kind, loving soul. I mean, we these are facts, and this is what we talk about because we know it's in front of us. Yeah. When you guys look at your business, when you look at your life, when you look at how you interact with people, don't overthink the fact that, oh my God, I have to learn my script perfectly. Guys, you're already living in a script. Mm-hmm. Every single thing you do, like next time you go to the supermarket, just think about how the last time you spoke to the checker when you're talking to them and how you interact with them, that's a script. So all of a sudden, it's not that complicated. It's like your life is easy. And Brindley's like literally chomping at the bit to say something. So I'm gonna let her in.
No. You're absolutely valid, 100%. I think it's
Matt, I am valid.
Here's the thing: in the absence of value, price and anything else is going to become an issue. So if you can lead with the value that it's going to provide the client, which by the way, like it's going to provide the value it's going to provide the client a lot of value because you're not good at details. If you're a really strong salesperson, it's very unlikely that you're good at details. And so you're basically hiring your counterpart to give an awesome customer experience and make sure that you get that referral at the end of the deal and that they refer their friends and family because they had a seamless process. Yet we all have ego, right? And ego is not, hey, look at me. Ego is what wants to prevent us from being our highest and best, right? And your ego doesn't want you to leverage. Your ego wants you to think that you can do it all yourself and that no one will do it as good as you can and that you need to learn this. That's not what's important here. What's important here is getting your business making as much money as possible to fund your perfect life.
Yeah. 100%. Gene, you freak me the fuck out when you're this quiet. Like you're like you have the serial killer look. Like I want to see you on a TV show sometime. Like it was always the quiet guy. You know,
quiet.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, Gene doesn't have. We don't know Gene's name, like middle name, so he can't be a serial killer. Now, if we knew Gene's middle name, all bets are off. Joseph? I was going to say Marie, but okay.
Marie, we used to say Marie.
Jean Marie Volpe. I mean, it has such a nice ring to it. I mean,
just went downhill real fast, Gene.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, this is what happens. One of us is always the odd man out. Today it's me. I serve my purpose. It's okay.
Well, and back to what you said. I mean, you're right on. Like, it is going to take a little bit of discipline to sit down, and it doesn't have to be fancy. It could be a notebook and a piece of paper. Stop doing these things, or find someone else to do these things.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that. That was. I think I first heard that from the guy that wrote Scale, David Finkel, who's run a business coaching organization for a long time, Maui Masterminds. I think he talks about the immediate, sit down and write that immediately stop doing list. So basically, rather than evaluating all of your time, you immediately figure out what are the things that drain me? What are the things that take me away from the activities where I make the most money? And you just essentially just start with the things that are at the very bottom of that list, and you immediately start to outsource those things. If I were an active agent today, and you've got dedicated prospecting time, so let's assume you're following the old Mike Ferry model, 8 to 11, right? 8 to 11 a.m. is your prospecting time. I would look at everything and anything that pulls me away from that time first. If you don't mow your lawn during 8 to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, then, put that on the back burner maybe. But if there's stuff that pulls you away during 8 to 11 in the morning, Monday through Friday, that's the very first thing you want to look at leveraging out. And that's an easy, you don't have to track all of your time to do that. All you have to do is just sit down and track the distractions and the stuff that pulls you out of your prospecting time.
Yeah, 100%. And like we said at the beginning of the call, start with those 5 things. Right? Put that
anything that isn't on that list. Yeah.
Put that on the left side of the piece of paper, and then on the right side, write everything else that's taking you away from that. And then, like Matt said, the things that you can leverage the fastest, get them off your plate, right? Or the things that are the biggest distraction. All of our lives are different, right? I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. My best friend is married, has 4 boys. Her life looks very different than mine. So what she leverages is going to look very different than what I leverage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think we and then we got to start wrapping up, Greg. But there's I think we tend to overestimate how much really good energy we have throughout the day, if that makes sense. Now, if you're Gary Vee, who seemingly has an endless fount of energy, somehow he's discovered the fountain of youth. He's an anomaly, whatever.
Well, that's
and then you've got other gurus that might very well be on coke. So, and we know, and Brindley, you know who I'm talking about. But I think for the rest of us, if you're not on coke or meth,
what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Here goes my good girl reputation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So anyway, the point being, we overestimate how much good mental energy and physical energy we have throughout the day. So if you're actually going to put 3 hours a day into prospecting, understand that is your best and highest use of your mental energy throughout the day. Whatever mental energy and emotional and physical energy you have throughout the rest of the day, ideally is going towards appointments. Yeah. Right. talking to clients, and just enough to maintain their happiness, and talking to prospects that will turn into clients. That's 4 hours right there. You know, what if you don't have 7 or 8 hours a day of your best mental energy, and that 4 hours is all you've got, and then you have some time to kind of dink around and do some admin stuff? Like, that might be it. You might, like, a 6-hour day of your best, at your absolute best time might be all you've got. And so if you don't leverage, like, you will be out of the business, because you'll end up spending, I mean, if you're a really good salesperson, maybe you'll be disciplined enough to spend all of your time on the sales stuff and just toss stuff back at somebody else and make them do the work. But what most people do is they spend 80% of the time on the admin stuff, 20% of the time on their sales, and they find out, oh, great, I've got no clients, and now I have to leave the business. So I think if there's one thing I've learned over the past 5 years of running my own thing, even working from home, even being in absolute control of my environment, even like not meeting most of my clients in person most of the time, I don't have anywhere near as much of my best mental and emotional energy throughout the day as I used to think I do.
Well, and I also think too that it's very easy for us to hide from things that we're uncomfortable with.
Yes.
Right? Lead generation is not everybody's favorite, right? Like, it's a lot of people can't sit on the phone for 2 hours a day and deal with rejection. I get that, right? And you have to ask yourself, am I justifying being over here because I think it's productive, right? Is it busyness or is it business? That's what you have to ask yourself. And what am I hiding from? Yeah, you got to get real with yourself. You got to get real honest. And that's where, Gene, it goes back to what you were saying, is you got to make that list. You got to get real honest with yourself about where your time is going, because you're worth it. You are worth it. And your family deserves to have you at your best, and for you to have more time. And until I started mastering this, I didn't have enough time to do anything. Now I have time.
See, Matt, I am worth it. Okay. Brindley just verified that. Okay.
He was talking to me.
Thank
he was
you.
talking to me.
Oh, sorry. Wrong G. Okay. But Gene Velope does have to go pick up small humans. So, Gene, we're going to let you bow out. Then we're going to close the show down here in a few minutes afterwards. But Gene Velope, otherwise known as Gene Volpe, the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja, the baldest of the bald. And no, actually, you're not. That's.
I think he's the ninjaest of the ninjas. I think. Well, let's go with that.
Oh, I like that one. Oh, hey, now.
But this is how we feel about you, my
Gene,
friend.
that's your competition in marketing. It was that guy.
Gene, you show up for this abuse.
I do. I actually come back every week for it, for some odd reason. It's easier than what I get from my wife, so it's all good.
Okay. Well,
I was going to say, Gene's East Coast. He can dish it out as well as he take. He's just being a good boy today.
Yeah, sure. He is. So, Gene, I know you got to bail. In all honesty, we love you. We appreciate you. We're super excited that you're always here with us, and one of our third co-hosts. How can people get a hold of you? And then we're going to continue the conversation with Brindley for a few more minutes.
Thank you, first of all. Ditto to all you folks as well. I was going to say guys, but also ladies that are with us. Oddly enough, I was making my list, my 80-20 list, while we were talking, and the best way to get in touch with me is to reach out to Brindley. And she will, she'll connect you. She'll handle it. She doesn't know it yet.
She handles all of Gene's scheduling, runs his calendar. That's right.
She doesn't know it yet, but that's the move. Call her, and if you need my help, she'll forward you on to me. But it's good seeing everybody. Brindley, great stuff.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Gene. We'll talk to you next week. All right. So, Brindley, one last question for you, and then we'll shut it down. Do you sit down or chat with your administrative assistant, like your executive assistant? Do you go and interrogate your calendar and make sure that everything that's on that calendar has a right to be there and should be there? Because I started doing this a couple months ago.
You know what's really fascinating that you bring that up is that I was on with my executive leadership team on Monday, and we were scheduling our next meeting, and we're Google folks. So I went to schedule the meeting, and when I put all 5 of their names in, a sea of rainbow popped up on the screen, because Google brings all your calendars in. And I had this really highly emotional moment as a leader, because I realized that we're actually practicing what we teach. We have a culture, and we're highly time blocked as an organization. And my team now understands that it's not me micromanaging them. It's me giving them the gift of time to be with their families and be present at night, to be able to go away on the weekends and unplug and feel like they can, because they have maximized their efficiency at work because they're highly time blocked. And so we build a culture of it. We talk about it. We discuss it. One of the first things I do when I start to hear victim language or overwhelm language, or I can't get to it all, they know the first thing I'm going to do is pull up their calendar. I'm going to say, show me your calendar. And most of the time, I'm not going to be able to see what their priorities are. And that's why they're overwhelmed, because they're lacking clarity on where their time is being spent and if it's being spent on the right things and the right priorities.
Yeah.
Well, let's break down the right priorities and right things. I mean, I know Matt wants to wrap the show up, and he's giving me the deer in headlights look. Like,
I was going to say, that's a big. You just kicked off what potentially is a whole other episode by itself.
I know, and I love the look on your face, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, we talked about this offline.
I was totally not obviously looking at my watch in a very totally obvious way. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm happy to come back and have that discussion anytime.
I will book you on a show where you and I can talk freely without Matt criticizing us in our time frames, and we go from there.
I think it's being aligned again with that 20%. Everybody knowing what their 20% is, right? And you have to build a conversation of it. You have to build a culture of it. You can't, as a leader, get mad at someone that they're not focusing on priorities if you're not constantly having that conversation, right?
Yeah, that is a big question. Great answer. I absolutely.
Yeah, we should do a show sometime, Greg. Maybe put this in the quiver of stuff that we could record, but just how to get more done, how to get more of the right things done. Because there's a lot of little tips and things that you and I picked up. We both have teams. Brindley, you have it. I mean, this would be a great episode for you to come back and do, because you've got a team and you teach people how to do this. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of little tricks like that, little things like, as opposed to just having some sort of thing that doesn't live in a time block, like either assigning it a time block or even better, assigning a meeting to it. So that there's somebody that you have to show up who's holding you kind of like passively accountable. One of my clients is doing this where every morning she hops on with somebody that's another influencer in her space, and they don't know each other very well. There's no chit chat. It's we hop on at 8 a.m. on Zoom, and this is our writing time. They're both working on books. So bam, like it's not a meeting in a traditional sense, but there's automatic accountability. And there's just little things like that the longer you're a business owner, if you really care about hitting your goals, you figure out little things like that to get you to do the stuff that will just keep getting kicked down the to-do list. So anyway, that'd be a fun thing to talk about when we come back. But Brindley, how do people reach out and get in touch with you?
Meetwithbrindley.com.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Meetwithbrindley.com.
Sign up. We can
now, who and at what stage should do that?
Anyone and everyone. You
well, that can't be true.
Well, yeah. I mean, go on, book a time, and if I feel like we need to meet, we will. But that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you can check out our website, Your Realty Leverage, yourrealtyleverage.com. That has all of our services and everything. And I'm Brindley Tucker. My name's on the screen. You can follow me on Facebook. I put a lot of content out there on Facebook and on Insta. So yeah.
Perfect. All right. And Greg, how and why should anyone reach out to connect with you?
Because I'm a big loving soul. I have a heart that's the size of the universe, unlike my co-host, Matt Johnson, who has a tiny little coal piece of a heart. And I will talk to everybody, and I won't even wash their cars. But in all jest aside, which obviously I'd love to do this, as you guys well know in this show. Guys, we are hiring for our EXP team. We are doing some incredible things. We have just literally launched a trucking side of our business where we are knocking 70% off of your moving costs. So I can show you guys how to kind of help your clients as well when you join our EXP team. But otherwise, just give me a call, guys. 925-915-1978. I would love to have a conversation with you. When I'm walking the doggo, when I'm kicking Matt's ass, when I'm texting Brindley, whatever's taking place. Exactly. I would love to have a conversation with you and just help in any way, shape, or form I can. So, Matt, I think you did a naughty thing, didn't you? You did a naughty thing.
Where is this going? What did I do? Oh, the book. Okay. Go to getmicrofamous.com. We just launched the new site. So newly redesigned site, getmicrofamous.com. I'm going to start doing some really cool, really epic blog post articles there based on my podcast episodes. You can also get the free digital copy of the book there. get into the email list there, get all that fun stuff. So go there. Okay. Speaking of that, let's do a mauve bow that we will wrap upon this episode.
I have to ask you the question first. You can't just
I skipped the question. I skipped the question. Let's dive over on the episode.
Look, we're not dating. You don't get to dictate the terms, okay? All right.
I do have a little button in the corner called end broadcast. I don't know if you knew that, Greg, but I do have some power.
You want to die, clown? Okay.
Oh my God, let's do
it. So Matt,
wrap it up.
Shut up. What is the color we want to put on the bow for the show?
I picked it. It's mauve. Go ahead.
Brindley, do you concur with mauve?
Mauve just makes me think of my house in the 90s growing up. Mauve leather couches.
With all brass hardware and light pine woodwork.
Brass hardware, mauve leather couches, and floral window valances. That's the
you got to love the floral valances. Oh, my mom was very into that. My mom hand sewed hers.
Yep, and the dust collectors, the fake plastic plants above the, yeah.
What? Okay, we stepped in the twilight zone. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in with us today. We love you and appreciate you more than you possibly know. Guys, please go to every place you guys watch or listen to any kind of podcast and give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review so that you guys can understand and learn more about Brindley Tucker. She's an amazing human being, beautiful soul. Matt Johnson, go to microfamous.com, pick up a copy of his book. And I fuck with him all the time. Legitimately, it is a phenomenal book. Like, he really did a great job writing this, so I appreciate him more than he knows. Oh, well, I might not know it either, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, guys, we love you. Until next time, peace out, ninjas. We motherfucking gone.